Hey, Assalamu alaikum. This is Imam Jamal Diwan with Safa Center for Research and Education, covering key concepts in Islam. Today is 3 stages of marriage in Islam. So when someone wants to get married, there are 3 stages to this process in Islam. The first one is consideration, the second is engagement, and the third is the marriage itself. So let's start with an opening question. Is marriage in Islam too difficult? And the answer to that is really yes and no. It is too difficult when these stages aren't followed correctly, or when people's different cultures and ideas get involved. But no, it's not too difficult when these are followed. So number 1 is consideration. What is it? Basically, it is consideration. The idea here is to get to know the other party, to speak with them. There's no commitment involved. And really the problem here is that when people go to the consideration process, they think they're already married, and that's what makes things so difficult. So this starts by getting the families involved is the optimal way. Someone's interested in a sister's interested in a brother, families will contact each other, they arrange for them to meet. That's the right way to do it, without doing all this groundwork and other strange things that people do. The second way, if that's not possible, is the local imam. Sometimes the local imam is also not a reasonable option, so the third way would be a married couple that's a little bit older that can kind of facilitate the beginning of this conversation. How it goes is that the couple will meet with supervision. So ideally this happens in the home of one of the families. It's not that the family has to supervise every single moment of the conversation, but that they're part of this process. And the idea is just to get to know each other and to make sure that you're focusing on trying to get to know each other. And obviously emotions can get very involved here, so you have to focus a little bit. It should remain private. This is not everyone else's business, because it may or may not work out. We have to always remember that in this stage. And it should focus on the big questions. The big make or break things should get out of the way first, before you start getting attached emotionally or anything else. The second stage then is engagement. If everything goes well in the first part of the consideration, then they will move to the engagement. This now becomes usually public, like people know that they're engaged. There's some level of commitment. Assuming nothing major goes wrong, the couple will get married. It's just working out all the details and kind of taking it step by step. Same rules apply. No touching, no intimate language, no, all of these things that should be saved for marriage. And the thing about engagement is the tricky stage, because you're committed and you want to get married, but the rules haven't changed. So you think of it like a candle, that you want to keep the flame there, but you don't want it to go out of control. So after that, the third step then is the marriage, the nikah, the aqd, kitab. All these are same words for the marriage. It has certain conditions. The first is the wali. The family of the bride has to agree, and they have to be involved, with a few exceptions that need experts. The second is the mahr, the dowry, gift from the husband to the wife. The third is witnesses. And the fourth is public. Basically, marriage in Islam is a public institution. It shouldn't be done without anyone knowing. And these conditions should be met, and that's what makes it what it is. Also, paperwork from the county, legal paperwork is important, because it kind of helps to deal with what happens when there's problems. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but sometimes it does. And now the rules change, so you're married physically, intimately, emotionally, everything else. A lot of people here postpone the reception, so they'll do the nikah or the aqd, and then they'll do the walima or the dinner reception later. And the reception is technically not a condition. If we're talking about the marriage versus the reception, the reception is not totally required. It's something that's recommended. It's something that the Prophet ﷺ used to do and encourage people to do. But they are 2 different things in that sense. It's basically just to invite people and feed them. It doesn't have to cost $100,000. Just to invite people and feed them. And the marriage is done at the time of the marriage. If you do a marriage and then a reception, this is not like, we're not married, we're kind of not married, we're whatever. Once the aqd or the nikah is done, the marriage is complete, all of the rights are there, inheritance, everything else. So these are the 3 stages of marriage in Islam. Again, consideration, engagement, and the marriage itself. And this is from safacenter.org. Check us out on the website and follow us on YouTube. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum.